Dr. Fidele Sebahizi is going to take us on a journey today from a remote African village through the horrors of a refugee camp massacre to a remarkable life as a police officer and Ph.D. holder in the United States. Do not miss this powerful story of courage and perseverance. As I was reading about him and his experiences, it just made everything within me just well up in excitement in the incredible tenacity and will of the human spirit. You are going to be so inspired today. Create your own life from the ashes. This is taken from his book. No matter what giants are in front of you.
Have you ever felt like giving up, quitting, throwing in the towel? Welcome to Never Ever Give Up Hope featuring Carol Graham. She's an author, health coach, and motivational speaker. Backed into a corner multiple times in her life, Carol shares with you stories on how she overcame some of the toughest obstacles a person can go through in life, but refused to give up hope. Rather than admit defeat, an opportunity was presented, and it involves each and every one of you. Carol will feature spectacular guests who will share their messages of hope, encouragement, and their inspiration to prove why life's adversities only make you stronger. And now, welcoming the host of the show, here's Carol Graham.
Dr. Fidele Sebahizi grew up in a poor African village, living and surviving a motivated massacre in a United Nations refugee camp in Burundi, Africa. Fidele overcame life obstacles as an immigrant into the United States to achieve the American dream. He became the first immigrant to join and work for the Abilene Police Department in Texas as a police officer. That's quite a culture shock right there. Wow. While working for the APD, Fidele earned multiple degrees: a BA in creative writing from Southern New Hampshire University, an MS in criminal justice from Sam Houston State University, and a PhD in criminal justice, Homeland Security from Liberty University in Virginia. Welcome, Dr. Fidele.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I'm looking forward to your story. Just from the intro alone, I know you're going to really um, intrigue our audience, because this is a story where you have come from nothing, which you are going to share as far as how you were living there compared to what you have become here. And it's an incredible story, and I can't wait to share it with the audience. So let's start with your story, essentially, like where you grew up and then what brought you um, to the United States.
Thank you for your introduction. I was born in a village, a small village called Bijombo in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. And that's where I grew up until I was 14. So that's when I left the village. So the village had no roads, no
Mm,
electricity, no running water, no any type of transportation like
really?
uh, close to the modern transportation. So we all we did was carrying our stuff on using our heads, or our
Wow.
backs. As I said, I grew up in a village. It was a small village of about probably 30 families, households.
My goodness. Okay.
Yeah, that's just the hill where I was born and grew up. But we were surrounded by other small villages as well. So I went to school there. I did my elementary school there, and our primary activity as boys was grazing cows. So the cows were our main, activity. Uh, you know, like taking it to graze and what drink water, stuff like that. So we were always behind our cows. So until 1996, during the first Congo War, that's when my family left my village. After the war had started, so we moved from that village to another small city called Uvira. It's right on the border with Burundi. So we lived there for about 8 years. So I went to high school there, uh, and I tried to go to college in 2003, 2004 in Bukavu, which is the provincial city or the provincial capital city of South Kivu, which is the province where I'm from. During my attempt to go to college in 2004 in that city, there was a conflict that started in the city, but spread to other cities or to other parts of the country. So it was a conflict between two military leaders, and unfortunately, that conflict turned to be against our ethnic community called the Banyamulenge. So I had to flee from that city back to my parents in Uvira. And in about June of 2004, we decided, when I say we decided, members of my community, ethnic community, we decided to leave the country for good because we were not safe anymore. So we fled into a United Nations refugee camp called Gatumba.
That probably was not an easy decision on taking it, right?
It was not. It was not because we were out of options. So the only option was to run away from the country. Even crossing the border was not easy because we faced a lot of challenges. They were stoning us, actually, like stoning us because we were outside on the track beds, outside because we didn't have a good way of transportation to go into that refugee camp. So yeah, some of us got injured just during the process. We found ourselves, my family and other families found ourselves in a refugee camp. The refugee camp was divided in two sections. One section which was for Burundian refugees who were returning from other countries in the region, coming back home. So the newer section belonged to Congolese refugees, mainly Banyamulenge refugees. So the section had green tents. The other one had white tents. So 2 months in the refugee camp. The only section that was attacked was our section, or the section that belonged to Congolese refugees. So it was during the night of 13th of August 2004 where we got attacked, and we lost 166 refugees in a matter of 2 hours of being killed with no resistance. So yeah, right. The United Nations, unfortunately, and the Burundian government failed miserably to protect us. So after a couple weeks, so the survivors, they moved us from that area to another refugee camp. This time inside the country, inside Burundi, far away from where the incident occurred. So we stayed there until 2007. That's when the process to come to the United States and other Western nations started. I don't know who started that process, but we were contacted where we were to start immigration interviews. So my family found itself in San Diego, California in April 2007.
Now, was this terrifying or exciting?
Both. Exciting because we were leaving our bad memories behind, but terrifying at the same time because we were going to the unknown.
Right.
So we didn't know where we were going to face, and but we were just excited because we were going to United States, the United States is
Mhm.
is a famous and popular country in the world, right? So
Right.
we're like, yeah, we're going to the United States. We're going to that great nation. But we started being challenged by culture shock in San Diego, California, because it's a big city.
No
Uh,
kidding.
yeah, right. And we had a few support, support from other refugees who were there already, but not from the Congo, but from Burundi. I remember this family,
Mm.
and there were, I'm gonna take this back. There was another family from the Congo that was there already, so we received a lot of support from them. They taught us a lot of stuff, going how to go to, to a grocery shop, and how to do this stuff, even how to ride a bus. So, and we got support from our resettlement, agency that welcomed, us in the
Right.
city, and they helped us with, food stamps and how to apply for social security card and stuff like that. So, and the thing that I remember from that city, that I benefited from really greatly, was the fact that I was given the opportunity to learn English from scratch. So
Mm.
I took a lot of English as a second language classes for about 6 7 months. So after that period, I started college.
Oh
So
my
in 2000,
goodness,
in
that's
2000
amazing.
right, in 2011, that's when I finished my associate degree. It was in chemistry. And
Oh,
after
chemistry,
getting,
sorry.
chemistry. So after getting that degree, I was like, I did not decide to, continue with the chemistry, at the bachelor's level. So I decided to go back and study more English, and I did my bachelor's degree in English, or creative writing to be specific.
That's quite a switch between the two. Wow.
Right, right.
So what was the interest in chemistry?
Because back home, when I graduated from high school, it was from, biochemistry. So back home we have, it's not like here where you just take general classes until you finish your high school. Back home, you study like a tenth grade, and you decide what you're gonna focus on.
I see.
Yeah, so my focus was biochemistry. So when I came to United States, I was like, I still had that spirit of chemistry, and I
I
decided to
see. Okay.
keep doing chemistry. But after my associate degree, I decided not to. I decided to drop it for a reason. I think I did not. I don't know. Not because I didn't understand chemistry, because my associate degree, I got it with,
Right.
high honors,
Oh,
because
great.
I did great, but I did not have a lot of passion, to keep studying chemistry for
Yeah,
some
right.
reasons. So from there, in 2015, I decided to move from California to Texas, because my brother was already in Abilene, Texas, and San Diego was getting more expensive, and I could not
Mhm.
afford to live there anymore. So I decided to move out, and the next step was to come to Abilene, Texas, because again, my brother was already here. I didn't want to go somewhere else to live away from my family. So 2015, I applied for a correctional officer job with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And 2015, 2016, and I started thinking about something else. I was like, I need to do something. Probably, I don't say like, I'm not saying like better than this, but something different, something that has more with law, because, and I remember prisoners kept telling me, that you can't be good enough in this, inside these walls, because seems like you are too strict, and we live here. This is our home. We're not going anywhere. So it's better for you to go outside and be a real cop. That's what they kept telling me. So I was like, yeah. One day I was like, I think they're right. I think I need to change. I need to, try to apply with, the Abilene Police Department and see if I can get in. So I applied and got in. And in 2017, that's when I graduated from the Abilene Police Academy. And I'm still employed at this moment as we're speaking.
And do you like that?
So with education, I didn't stop with my education. So while being employed by the APD, I kept going to school and I got my bachelor degree. That's when I finished my bachelor degree because when I left San Diego, I had some classes towards my bachelor degree. But when I was here in Abilene, that's when I kept going with my education and I got the degree. And after that, I didn't take a break. I applied for the master's degree in criminal justice because I was already in the criminal justice field. So when I graduated with my master's degree, I didn't take a break either. I went on and applied for a Ph.D. degree, and last year that's when I graduated. That's when I finished my degree. And so during the last step or the last phase towards my PhD degree, I started writing my book. I was like, I think I have a lot to tell. I have something to contribute. I have something that can inspire others. So I started writing my memoir that I called Creating a Life from the Ashes. And so I graduated with my PhD degree in May of last year, 2024. And in August, that's when I published my book.
So before we talk about your book, I want to know a little bit more about your journey. Because if we look at your beginnings to where you are now, this is the part that the audience is, I'm sure, excited to hear. So along with culture shock and you having to change everything that you knew before you came to this country, your lifestyle, everything else, what can you share with the audience to explain the emotion side of that and how you dealt with it? Because this is unique. Your story is unique. Most people do not go through anywhere near what you have gone through as far as the changes that you had to make. And it was a challenge. Of course, a huge challenge. So explain a little bit about the emotion side of that and how you addressed the challenge, what drove you, what kept you going.
All right, that's right. So any change is not easy, and as human beings, we don't like changes because we want to keep doing what we are used to. So when I came to the United States, I had to change. I had to face the changes that were in front of me, and the only way to do that was, to learn how to be resilient and try to manage, like the memories from back home because most of the memories from back home were not good memories, were bad memories about, all the atrocity, the persecution, killings, genocide, all sorts of bad stuff. So I had to deal with that. Even right now, at this moment, I'm still struggling with that when, memories don't go away that easily. They keep coming back, right? They keep coming back. They don't vanish. They don't disappear. So,
I mean, that's where you've come from. So
yes,
struggling with that as well, right? And you're probably missing a certain portion of it. Would you?
Oh yes, there are good memories that I still cherish, that I still remember, and
Okay.
I think the only way that I have taught myself is to leave those memories as if I'm back home, even though I'm in the United States, but in my head is like I'm back home. I'm doing what I used to do or what I did when I was a child. Something that supported me, something that inspired me, something that energized me. So I live those memories. I live good memories, like like mentally.
All right. Well, before we get into your book, we're going to take a quick break. And then we're going to talk about your book and also what you have to offer the audience. So we'll be right back.
Carol Graham would like to show you the path from misery to miraculous triumph in her fast-paced memoir, Battered Hope. She relates her determination to succeed as someone who experienced one horrendous nightmare after another. Gang raped and left for dead, loss of a child, husband falsely imprisoned, and cancer. Nothing could break her tenacity or faith. No matter what you face, heartache, loss, suffering, or injustice, Carol will illustrate how she became a victor the same way you can. The secret is to never, ever give up hope. Order your copy at Amazon or batteredhope.blogspot.com.
Well, this has been intriguing, to say the least, listening to your story and trying to picture. You drew some very good word pictures for us to imagine what life was then and what it is now, and how your perseverance and your drive, which is phenomenal, to not only keep going but to always better yourself. And you have a message that is, again, unique, but also encouraging. And we really appreciate you sharing your story with us. Now, what do you want? First of all, let's talk about your book and then what you would like to share with the audience and relating to what they may be going through, their challenges.
Yeah, so as I said, I started writing a book towards or during the last phase of my dissertation, my PhD dissertation, and I realized that I had something to offer or something to share with others, because with all that I went through, starting from my childhood up to now, I was like, I think I have something at least that I can share with, starting with my kids and my friends and family members and the rest of my audience. I was like, I have something at least that I can offer. It's not more than what other people have experienced, but it's something about me that I can share, and I'm alive to share it, and telling them that if I went through something, and you're probably not going through the same thing, but you're going through something similar to that or something that is a challenge in your life. I was like, yeah, I think I have something. Then I started writing. I started, drafting the story, and I went through the whole process, the production process. I had a company, the self-publishing school that helped me to publish this book. Yeah, so it was a great journey too. I learned a lot of stuff. So there's one thing that I learned: writing a book is not easy compared to marketing it. Like,
Yes.
that's the hardest part. That's the hardest part. So writing a book it took me about 7 months to finish the manuscript, and going through the whole process, the production process, took me probably another 3 months. So I was like, yeah, I'm done. Then what? So, you know, understandably, it's a long journey. It's a challenge, but I like to be challenged in my life. I like to
That's
be
obvious.
Yeah, I like to learn. I like to learn. I like to face new things, new skills, new challenges that can teach me something. So I'm learning right now. I'm not successful, but I'm still learning. I'm still on the journey to learn something that I can learn from that journey. So
Is there another book in the works?
yeah, I've been thinking about that, but I haven't started like a really started. Maybe a few sentences, but so I'm still thinking about it. But when I decided to go, I'm gonna go. So
That sounds like
that's
it.
that's how I work. That's how I work. That's
That's
my
right.
personal.
No
Yeah, that's how.
holds barred, right?
Yeah, when I start, I start. But when I'm thinking about something. Yeah, it's just ideas
Uh-huh.
flowing around. But when I decide to begin, I begin and I go.
Yes, you're driven. Exactly.
Yeah,
So is the book written as a novel, as a story, or? Um,
it it's really is a story. It's a memoir, so it's just from my childhood, what I experienced from the beginning, and the life I lived, and all the way up to the PhD degree. So everything is there. It's a book with it has more than 200 pages. It's not big book. So, and it has a lot of pictures too there. Pictures. You know how
Oh,
pictures tell
awesome.
more
That's
stories
awesome.
than
Yes.
words. Yeah.
Do you have children?
Yeah, I have two daughters, 14 and 7.
And how do you relate your past with them?
So I like to tell them stories from my childhood and from my country, and I show them pictures from home, and I keep encouraging them to go back there one time or twice, or go back there
Mhm.
as many times as they can. That way they can learn from their culture. They are American born kids, but
Right.
they still they still have somewhere they still have to learn from their dad's side or even their mom's side. So it's like I think they are in the middle of two cultures. They're in the middle of
Right.
African culture and American culture, because even though they were not born in Africa, they don't know anything about Africa other than pictures that I showed them. But it's their responsibility. They have a responsibility to do. They're responsible to learn my language. When we communicate in English.
Okay.
Even when I say something in my language, sometimes they get it. Like
Hmm.
simple words, they get it. But when they respond, when they reply in English. Sometimes if they don't understand something, I have to explain. I have to go like, I don't know, have to go over something and show
Hmm.
them. And sometimes if they don't understand, I was like, yeah, that's it. If you don't understand, you don't understand. I don't know how to explain to you.
Right. Exactly.
So even when they used to make fun of me with my English accent,
Hmm.
they'll be like, "Oh, why are you saying what is that? What is that?" When I say, "Oh," then they'll be like, "Oh, you saying this, Dad? You don't say like
Oh,
that."
that's funny.
And then, but at the same time, I make fun of them. At the same time, I'm like, if you can speak your mother's tongue, which is Kinyamulenge, you only speak English. English, yes. Again, they are somewhere in the middle of both cultures, of both languages. I think it's hard. It's hard on them to cope with it.
Was English difficult for you to learn?
Uh, to be honest, it was not. It was not difficult because I learned French back home. French is probably the
Okay.
most
Okay.
difficult language in the world.
Okay. I took French. I can relate.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I still struggle with the English language because it's not my second. Even though I
Right.
took
Right.
classes called ESL, or English as a second language, English was not my second language. It was not my third. It was not my fourth. But it's hard to talk or speak like an American born person, right? So I'm gonna have that accent. I'm gonna have that accent until I die. That's the
Exactly.
reality. So that's
Exactly.
not going to change. Yeah.
Now, besides another book possibly in the works, what else are you thinking? Because you strike me as somebody who doesn't sit still very long. So, what are your goals? What are your ambitions?
So I am building my personal website. Is about to be done in a few days. Uh, I started doing speaking engagements. Uh, I've been invited by schools, starting from elementary schools, middle schools, high
Hmm.
schools, universities, and even just like organizations, just to go talk
Right.
and tell them my story, and to motivate and inspire them. So I think that's a side gig that I have started. So I'm working on
Great.
that.
Great.
I'm working on that. I need to share my story to as many people as possible. People they need to hear something. If you let's say you are struggling with something. I usually tell my coworkers, American coworkers, I tell them that I think Americans are spoiled. I hate to say that all the time, but
I agree.
I think they are. Not all of them, but some of them are, because when you see somebody complaining about something, you
Right.
you think about what you went through,
Exactly.
and it's like, man, this person does not know better. I don't wish them to go through what I went through, of
Right.
course, but I wish they knew that there are a lot of people who went through more difficulties than that they have right now.
Oh,
Right.
and the
That
world
will
that
encourage.
in the
Yes.
world that we're living in right now and what's happening with the youth. I mean, there are two very, very different camps. You know, one
Yes.
side is very, and I've
Yes.
seen it, very
Mhm.
motivated and they're on the right paths, and the other is like they feel that they're entitled to anything and everything, and they don't have to work hard.
Right. The entitlement. That's where the
Yes,
problem
yes,
lies.
yes.
Yes.
So I appreciate you saying that. So as we close here, just share whatever you would like to share, whether it's anything more from your story, from your heart, or to motivate people, or just whatever you would like to share.
Yeah. I think to answer your question about my goals, or I still think about my home village, and I'd like one day to go back and rebuild it, or make the place a better place.
Wow.
I even tell my kids that I wish them, or I'd like them to go back home, to my home, which is
Yes,
their home as well, even though
yes,
they
yes.
don't know anything about it. But what I can tell your audience is that if you see something that is not going the way they should be, like uh, going back, like, to my story, going back to my home village right now, my village where I was born and grew up has been destroyed to ashes. So if you see something that has been destroyed in your life, or in somebody's life, your friend's life, your family's life, uh, try to make that place better, make it a better place, for
Right.
not for you, for others
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy. You don't just, how, the American culture of individualism, right? Like, this is mine, this is me, this
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
everything you want to be yours. So I wish that we have a lot of people who think the otherwise, like, just, help others to
Yes.
live, a better life, basically.
That is an excellent point to stop in. And also, I do know that there are two schools, just like you said, and there are those who will understand what you are saying and agree with you, and there are others that'll like, huh, you know.
Yeah, right, right,
But yes, to encourage those to be the best that they can be, right? I mean, look at
right.
you now. Saying that, when you were very young, before you left Africa, did you have the same kind of drive, like to be the best you could be, or did that happen when you came to America?
That's a great question. I don't think I don't think I felt, or I felt the same way that I feel right now, especially when it comes to better myself. Uh, Back home, I didn't have a lot of opportunities to make me, inspired
Okay.
to inspire me to go further. I didn't have a lot of opportunities back home, but when I got here,
Mhm.
with so much opportunity that a lot of people don't even use, and that hurts me a lot when I think about it in this country. When I think about how this country offers a lot of opportunities, but citizens, a lot of people don't take advantage of those opportunities. That hurts me more than anything.
That is so well stated. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. And thank you for the encouragement that you've given us today. And we really appreciate you being on Never Ever Give Up Hope. And I'm looking forward to sharing your website and your next book when it comes out.
Thanks so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Never Ever Give Up Hope, featuring Carol Graham. Did you know that most people succeed because they are determined to? Quitting was never an option. Carol loves your comments and will respond to each one. So please subscribe and review this podcast. A rating of 5 stars would be outstanding and appreciated. Remember, if you are still here, there is always hope.